Alrighty, welcome back. Let's get into the next part of this. We're going to create an entry for our equation. Then we'll create a dev screen to test our equation. This may be the longest part of the tutorial. The equation is kind of intense because it's handling for so many different possibilities. So I'm going to stub out the equation, but we're not going to use it until the next tutorial. We're going to create the actual entries for the equation because, like I said before, each different part of the dice roll is an entry to the equation. And like I also noted in the intro, it's kind of funny how this really lends itself more to the base item and the hierarchical model we were using before. And I didn't use the hierarchical model because I wasn't going to use a tree view, so I automatically didn't use it. And that makes it kind of interesting. You could totally use a tree view in this one. Maybe I should come back and update it with that. So we're going to need a total of 3 different enums. We will be bringing in the Enum Converters, those tutorials. But we do need a source enum. So if you played D&D or you played any role-playing game, you probably know that sometimes you take the greatest values from multiple rolls. So you'll roll a dice 4 times and you'll take the 3 greatest values, etc. And you'll either sum them, multiply them, negate them, or average them. And then we will have another enum that is almost the same as that, but it will only have sum, multiply, and negate. It won't have average for the groups. And then we'll also have percentiles. So the number of sides our dice will have we'll have 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 20. Number of rolls we're going to make. Alright. You're just messing with me, Microsoft. Pictures, I have no idea. Okay, I guess it was thinking 3D. I guess IntelliSense was going into a 3D world. No, we're just rolling dice here, Microsoft. Nothing else. And then a set value. In certain cases, that will be part of our equation. We will not roll a dice. If you go back and you add a character into this, a character creator into this app, that you might be pulling the value from a character stat like strength, the strength modifier, wisdom modifier, etc. Is this a percentile type roll? Very much we're taking everything from our dev screen and we're turning it into an entity here. we need something to say use the value type instead of roll type. Creating a math equation. By default, we'll be going for all of our roles. So if we have 3 roles, we'll be looking at all of them, but we'll still have the ability to go to greatest and lesser, and the greatest and the least. And the action of what we're going to do. The result of our equation, of this part of the equation, and our debug text, or information text, that will show all of our role values, whether we used them or not, whether we took them or not. Let's stub out our different execute methods. Come back in a few minutes and put them in place. Our execute itself has a parameter for the number of dice side. We'll just have one method for all of them. Alright, let's just go ahead and get these in play. We'll do the shortest one first. We execute percentile, then we'll do the execute with the parameter, then we'll do the main execute, which is actually the longest one, because it has to handle all the average and the summing and all that good stuff. Keyboard is rocking, I can hear it. I like projects like these because, first of all, they're fun. This one's current and relevant. and they actually teach a point. It does show that .NET's MVVM is very friendly with threads, with multi-threading. Now I'm whistling, or I sound like a kazoo. But it's very friendly with multi-threading. Although I will say the latest version of IntelliSense really doesn't like Microsoft very much. It's doing crazy nutty stuff like that where it doesn't really want it, even if you slow down to try to give IntelliSense time to figure stuff out, it still messes up. So we've already went over the execute percentile method, and we've already went over this method, but this time we are getting the sides from the parameter. We have to convert the parameter to the number of sides, and we'll use that in our actual loop when we're looping through to determine our 2 value of our random next. There it is. Our sides times 1000. And we still want to see our dice rolling. Build a little bit of anticipation in players. All right, come on. Just sleep. If you remove that sleep from this, you will find that it does not perform as well. It does not really give us all the values we want. Forgot an S. All right, let's implement our execute method. We need to check, make sure our rolls are at least 1. And we need to make sure that the number we want to take is less or equal to our number of rolls. And we also need to make sure that our take is greater than or equal to 1. Clear our debug string. Create a variable. Hold all our values, create a variable to hold all our values. If this is not a use value type of equation, then we need an array for each roll. That will hold the results of each roll, and then we'll come back through and average them, sum them, or negate them, or multiply them. And if it is a use value, then our results is equal to the value. Simple enough, I hope. Alright, we're about to type in a huge hunk of code. So hold your seat pants. This should all be split up into 3 different methods at least. So we need another variable for the answer. We could possibly use the result variable, but since it is at the class level and this is going to be running a different thread, I sometimes have problems with that. At the time that the property change fires, because of the multi-threading, the value of the field, in this case m_result, will not yet be the value I want because I'm adding to it because it's in multi-threading. And I saw that while I was developing this. So I believe I saw it on the main screen and not here, but still. It's probably just going to be 8 bytes. Or 4 bytes, I mean, if you're still running 32-bit. Which of course you are going to be in .NET. And C#. So if it's after our first pass, then our answer will be times equal to the answer, the results. Otherwise, it will be equal to the very first result. And we do the same thing for sum in average. So always add it to it. Down at the bottom, you can see where we typed in. If it is average, then we divide our answer by number of values we took. Come on. It's not that hard. 1 out of the way. We got 2 more to go. Taking a quick break here. I don't think you can see in the recording, but alright, so now we need to do the greatest and our least. So we're going to sort our results descending, so the greatest number. So our biggest number is at the top. We're going to convert it to array because we want to do a for int loop because we need the n, the actual integer n. And I remember at the very beginning of the link, when you would do an order by or something, you were executing multiple times if you didn't do the toArray. If you do the toArray toList, you were not executing each time you went through the loop. But it is not as it sounds at the very beginning. Every time you went, each number 0, 1, 2, 3, you were re-executing a part of the link query. And that does actually kind of make sense for certain situations because, you know, in certain situations you might want to back out. But most situations, no. So most of everything's going to look exactly like above. We can get smart later on and simply pass our results to another function because all of this is actually going to be pretty much copied. Of course, this is a dev project, is a brainstorm project, so I was not thinking about minimizing the code code reusing the code. But this function, I mean, these functions are totally reusable, and since we're converting the results of the query to an array, we can easily do the query here and pass the results for all greatest or least to another method. And I'm right now going by exactly what my guide code is saying. So you could probably get away with copying and pasting everything from above below the to array. But I have made some good money in my career off of being able to brainstorm. So I like to listen to myself. And then come back and make the code more readable later on. Alrighty. Before I got everything else in place, we need to jump over to our screen, add our page, or actually we need to add our converters first. We will have a total of 4 converters in the end, but right now we're just going to have 3. We have to get our group in place to do the last converter, so we haven't done that yet. And if you've done my converter tutorial, yeah, this is the same. Enum Converter, source converter is in that tutorial. All right. Alrighty, and now for a little bit more of a tightly bound converter. Do our source first, then we'll do our take action, or we'll do our action first. Type one thing, say another. These are a little bit more tricky because we've based our enum on a type, on a byte. So I done that on purpose, just to show a different example in the tutorial on enums. We have to actually check that our value is greater than -1 because the combo box may actually set it to -1. With that, I'm going to be testing shortly, so just hold on. To those software engineers who do not like code, If you're getting something out of this, like and subscribe. Alright, so we need to do our source now. We're going to copy and paste in all actual fact. Because all we need to do is change the enum type. Why didn't I just copy the whole thing? Some days. Now we need to add these to our app.xaml file. So we have to put a reference into the namespace up here, calling mine converters to make it very clear. We can do this in the actual form, in the actual page we're using it in, but then if we do it here, it's available to the whole application. And we are going to be using these again in our next page. This tutorial isn't too long for anybody, but like I said, this one's just for fun. I was having fun with it. Maybe some of you do tabletop games. And we're adding a new page. Sorry about that. Die entry dev view under our pages folder. Alright, so this is a little bit intense. Not much. This is a 3 columns, 2 rows. We need to be able to fill out all of our information. So I'm calling the entry in our model view test entry. When we actually do our main page, which it will be surprisingly should be quicker than this, we'll have everything sorted out. It will be the selected item of our selected group. But for the moment, we're doing this. Alright, IntelliSense has been acting really freaky when I type in the converter. So it may take a couple seconds for it to kick in. I don't know why. I think it's on my computer. Come on. Come on. I'm just going to type it in. Alright, that time's my fault. I forgot the end. Now we did the selected item to the index, or excuse me, the selected index. Alright. Come on. Okay, come on. Typed it in that time. and then you stopped. You see, it typed in converter, it put everything in place, but then it just stopped working. It's very freaky. It's not giving me any information what's going on. It just stopped working. I typed static resource wrong, but that's because it didn't give me the pop-up because I was just trying to aggravate it. Let's try that again. Alright, let's try this. Alright. It just stops. It's like IntelliSense crashes, but it doesn't tell me it crashes. Alright, let's try this. Try it again. Of course, it should not do IntelliSense there, because that would be X-bind. And bam. Okay. Just copy and paste it. I don't want to mess with it if it's going to work now. Okay. We need a place to put our results, of course. So we're going to do a border and a stack panel and a text block. Then we'll do another one that shows our debug text. Let's get over to our code behind and test it. We're almost there. One more quick thing. We need a button up here to execute everything. Call it execute. Yeah, I'm going to execute this function. It's going down, man. We need our view model. Let's jump over to the main page and grab it. Reference namespaces. All right. Just going to call our view model test entry, execute. And guess what? I need a test entry. already. Now we have something. Come on. View model, test entry, execute. And start. And that's exactly what we're going to do. And I forgot to put a button to navigate to the page. Copy and paste. Run. Clear. And test your heart out. We are there. We get our results. You see all of the results in the second text box, not just, so we have three, we're going to test three things, but we're only taking the top two. So, well, if you're doing greatest or least. If you're doing all, then it's ignoring how many to take. Testing the averaging, testing multiplying. This is just a test that our entity known as the dice entity or dice entry is working, and it is working. If you got something out of this, like it and subscribe. If you got something out of this but you didn't like it, then just subscribe. We are jumping over to actually getting the equation in place, and like I said, that should be a little bit more fluid. And then you can really get into this project on your own. I will see you in the next video. All glory be to God.